guys, it's Appleminte. Welcome back again to my channel. So for today's video, I saw a comment on my previous poll where I asked you guys what kind of videos you wanted to see, and when I saw it, I got really excited and wanted to do it. And the idea was to draw in different styles. I've done style challenges in the past, and for today's video, I really wanted to do that again, but kind of go a little more all out. So I'll be doing these digitally. And my victim for today will be my character Rin. I've drawn her in a few videos in the past, so you might recognize her. But the first style that I'm doing is in good faith with the comment that was left for me and inspired this video. So I'm doing Genshin Impact's style. Genshin Impact has an interesting art style because it's definitely very anime, but it is very detailed as well. I personally really like it, but it really does vary from character to character in Genshin Impact. If you're familiar with the game, which I'm sure most of you are because it's pretty much been huge for the past year, and I was definitely very into it last year. I haven't played as much recently, but I log in every now and then to collect stuff and gamble the characters and get stuff with the gacha system. But anyway, each character, as I was looking up references for this style, I noticed has a different look. They all have a consistent style. You can tell they're from the same game, but each character varies in their features and how they're drawn. So I was trying to look at a bunch of different characters to get a sense for the overall things that were common, because when you're looking at trying to copy an art style, and of course I'm not perfect with completely emulating an art style, but I do my best. But the things that I look at are namely the line weight and how they color. I think those two things are a big part of copying a style. I think that's at least half of it, and I think the other half is obviously drawing things the way that that style tends to do it. So, you know, that varies. Obviously, that's a telling factor, but if you're trying to copy a style, but you're doing your own way of coloring, or you're not really copying the thickness of the lines or how they tend to do it, you're not going to get it as close as you could if you did do those things. So for my Genshin Impact one, I really liked how it came out, though I will say it was very difficult to copy the style in terms of the coloring for me, because like I said, a lot of the characters are a little bit different in how certain parts of them are colored or shaded, and I was having difficulty figuring out how I wanted to do it for my character Rin. So I did my best in at least trying to copy like the way the highlights are done, for example, and the hair overall. Like, I had more trouble because Rin's hair is so dark that, like, normally if it was a lighter hair color, I would probably add in some other colors to kind of vary the shading and the overall look of the hair. But for the most part here, I just stuck with dark blues, and I don't know, I tried to focus more on the highlights there. And also the eyes, I think, were a big thing for getting the style across for this. They are very anime, and they're definitely done a little different than I normally do, as well as like the nose and the smaller mouth, the smaller eyebrows, all of that, and just using thinner line art overall than I would normally do. So that is Rin in the Genshin Impact art style, the best that I could do, so I hope you can recognize it at least. But here she is. I hope you like her, and I definitely had a lot of fun doing her. She took quite a while because she was so detailed, but I had a lot of fun with it. The next style that I'm going to be doing is a very common one, but it's one that I don't know if I've ever done before in an art style challenge. If I have, then I don't remember, or it was a long time ago. But it is definitely still in the anime realm, but very different from Genshin Impact, and that is Sailor Moon. And so this is another distinct art style where there's not a ton of shading. Like, there is cell shading in here, but it's not very detailed. There's no gradients. It's all just solid colors filled in with some cell shading, and the shading isn't very varied. It's very, like, just, you know, a darker shade of the color, and there's no highlights, at least as far as I was seeing in most of the artwork that I was finding for reference. Also, the eyes are huge huge telling factor in this art style, which they're huge eyes and they're very 90s anime. So they're very distinct and different from today's anime style for the most part, if you know what I mean. I also ended up using the symmetry tool when I was doing this because I realized since I was drawing her straight on and I was looking at references from the Sailor Moon art style, specifically a picture of Sailor Moon when she's facing the front, she looks very symmetrical. So I decided to use the symmetry tool to get her to be exact, otherwise she would have looked a little wonky, and the art style, like I said, did have drawings where they were completely mirrored, you know, from each side to get it to be completely even looking. So that's why I chose to do that here, and it definitely helped out to make the drawing even overall. And then the line art, the line weight, is all completely consistent. I just used one thickness. I did not vary it at all. So it looks very, I don't know, it just helps the style to look very cell shaded and stand out-ish. So yeah, I hope that I got this one down. I think this is, of all the ones I did, I really like this one a lot and how it came out. And she definitely looks extremely 90s anime, which I think is a lot of fun. So there she is in a Sailor Moon art style. So this next art style I'm doing comes from another video game, and this is different than the other two that I did in terms of I am not going to be doing any actual line art for this one. This is just the sketch that you're seeing me do, but that's going to go away. But I am doing Splatoon for this one. And so I'm turning her long pieces of hair that come down on the sides of her face into like the long squid tentacle hair. I looked at a bunch of different squid characters and I was trying to decide what hairstyle would go best with her. And I think this classic one works best, where she has a flap of squidness in the back. I don't know what to call it. And then the two front pieces with like a chunky bang in the front. And of course the eyes are extremely telling for Splatoon in general. They have those black outlines around their eyes and everything is very stylized. So when I said that I'm not doing line art, as you can see, I'm blocking out different areas of color because Splatoon is a 3D video game, and so I'm trying to kind of mimic that. Obviously, I'm not going to get the exact 3D looking style, but I'm kind of trying to go somewhere in between 2D and 3D with this drawing. So I'm just doing everything as shadows and highlights and not using any kind of line art, which is very different. I don't ever do that. I always use line art because I personally really like the way drawings look when they have a nice, solid, bold outline. I think it helps them stand out a lot. So this style is definitely out of my comfort zone and is not something I would normally draw in. But you know, for the spirit of this video, I thought it would be fun to try something a little bit different. So as you can see, I'm just shading everything, and a lot of, well, something that helps things to look a little more 3D-ish is gradients and shading with airbrush. So it's a very soft transition rather than cell shading, which does not make it look 3D. Cell shading does pretty much the opposite, and it's just hard shadows, which make it look very 2D. So I stayed away from those hard shadows as much as I could, except in certain little areas where I wanted things to be a little more defined. And so the only thing I'll say is I think her hair is blending a little too much with her outfit there, but that's fine. Yeah, I did my best here, but that is Rin as a squid kid. And now on to the last one is a more simplistic art style, and it is something that I see constantly in my fan base, people always talking about this, and I'm gonna be honest, I don't really know what it is per se. I think it's an app, or I'm like dating myself completely here, but anyway, you might be able to tell that I'm doing the gacha style, gacha life I think is what it's called. And yeah, like I said, I'm gonna be honest, I'm not 100% sure if, like, I think this is a game, or maybe an app to chat with your friends, or maybe you make characters. I don't actually know, so you can tell me in the comments below. But anyway, I see these characters constantly, and so I felt like it would only be right to draw in the art style. Again, this art style is very simplified, and there's no shading except gradient in the hair, which I noticed, so you'll see me do that. And then all of the line weight is a bit thicker, and it's all consistent, no varying line weights. So anyway, those are the 4 art styles that I chose for today's video. And I really hope you enjoyed this. If you want to see me do more styles, I really had fun with this. And like I said, I tried to go all out in terms of digital, which takes me longer, but I think I can get more refined looking art pieces. And so for this, I felt like it would be really fitting to do this video digitally. But anyway, let me know what you thought and let me know which character style you liked the best. So anyway, yeah, there's my gotcha girl. And as always, all my links are in the description box below. The link to my online store, my Patreon pin club, my Instagram page, and my Discord server. Everything is in the description below. So thank you guys so much for watching. I'm happy to be back on YouTube. And I will see you guys all next Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. As always, I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Bye-bye.